This is a $79 Chromebook and I'm gonna optimize it for competitive gaming. But you might be wondering, why a $79 Chromebook? It's not exactly the kind of device you'd think of for gaming, let alone gaming at the highest level for real cash prizes. They're slow, small, and built for typing essays, and that's exactly why I went through every hidden feature to optimize this Chromebook and turn it into a competitive gaming PC. However, the biggest problem is that Chromebooks run on Chrome OS, and pretty much every single gaming PC in the world runs on Windows, making this challenge way harder than optimizing a normal $50 PC. But luckily, this biggest problem is also the easiest hurdle in this video, because all we have to do is just not use Chrome OS, right? Well, it's just not that simple, because this $79 Chromebook is not your average Chromebook. This is an actual school Chromebook that was given for free from the school to my friend's brother. For free? I thought it was $79. Well, if for some reason you want to buy one of these terrible Chromebooks, they are available to purchase for just $79 or $10,000 if you live in Canada, which is a little bit overpriced for a laptop with 4 gigs of RAM. But yeah, this Chromebook is disgusting. Did Timmy take a shit inside the USB port? What is this brown stuff? And you would think that installing Windows onto it would be a pretty simple process, but since this Chromebook still belongs to the school, finding a way to bypass all these restrictions was gonna be tough. And on top of that, Windows 11 takes up more storage than the total storage in this potato. But obviously, I knew this was going to be a problem, so I came prepared. I'm actually 2 steps ahead. I'm on my Nikocado avocado type shit. Because the same friend who gave me his brother's Chromebook also gave me this 2TB external hard drive 2 years ago. So now I actually have something useful to do with this thing. It doesn't seem like there's anything important in here, so I'm just going to wipe the whole thing and install Windows from this totally safe website that has Windows installations for 5 bajillion different Chromebooks. And after a few steps into installing Windows, we're greeted with a message that reads developer mode is disabled on this device by system policy. Now, wiping the hard drive wasn't going to cause any difficulties, but this would end up wiping Timmy's whole Chromebook too. The thing with Chromebooks is that if you install another OS onto it, it's going to permanently delete the original OS and all your previous data. If this was my own Chromebook, I wouldn't care because this $79 Chromebook would probably brick itself anyways, but this could straight up get Timmy suspended from school. And people get in trouble if it looks like your Chromebook was even slightly tampered with, so imagine what would happen if I wiped the whole thing. And even if I was a psycho and wanted to sacrifice Timmy's academic record, this shit is 100% not bypassable anyways, meaning we are totally 102% cooked. Until now, because Superuser might have just saved this video, and it's giving me a solution for my exact problem. Until I found out that repeatedly entering developer mode to bypass this error can cook my BIOS and cause this Chromebook to be a mess. Or whatever the hell that means. So let's instead try this other guy's alternative solution, which will hopefully finally get us past this brick wall without sacrificing Timmy's education. Step 1. Make sure your Chromebook is off. I think it's off. Unscrew your Chromebook back cover. Well, one of the screws was missing before I even started, and the very last screw was stripped, so I had to drill it out and throw it away. Unscrew the battery and unplug the power cord connecting the battery and the motherboard. This was the weirdest battery removal I've ever done, but after some YouTube tutorials, I managed to remove the battery with no issues. Open your Chromebook and press the power button for 30 seconds. This should bypass the admin block. Yeah, this didn't work. Either I'm too f***ing stupid to enter developer mode, or the school board is too smart to let me install Windows onto my Chromebook, so I texted my friend for the login info and just signed in like a regular student. Well, that was a good 30 minutes of my life gone right there, but it's for the content, so it doesn't matter. What does matter though is that we're forced onto Chrome OS, which is going to cause way more problems than you might think. Now that we're in, we can finally look at the specs, and they are absolutely horrendous. 4 gigs of RAM and a 1.6 GHz CPU. I didn't think we could get much worse than my $50 PC. In our first attempt at competitive gameplay on a Chromebook, we'll be using Xbox Cloud Gaming. So I logged in, and surprisingly I managed to hit a triple edit. But the problem is that we were getting huge stutters every 2 seconds. The game would just completely freeze, and not a single pro gamer would ever touch this Chromebook if this was the gaming experience they were getting into. Now, FPS stutters like these normally happen when your CPU is overloaded, but Chrome OS by default is already pretty optimized to run smoothly on the slowest CPUs, like the one we have in this Chromebook. The OS itself is basically just a browser, so there's not much to be optimized in the first place. So I think this is a very rare case where the stutters occur due to something that isn't a CPU overload. But because most optimization guides, including mine, mainly focus on the CPU, there's not much we can do to optimize the Chromebook itself. In order to fix these stutters, I first tried to switch my mouse to Bluetooth mode, which might sound like a completely stupid idea, but hear me out. A lot of high-end PCs get worse performance if you set your mouse to 4K polling, so I was thinking maybe this was a baby version of that issue where 1K polling might be overloading the CPU. So by switching my mouse to Bluetooth mode, it drops the polling rate from 1000Hz to 125Hz, and in turn should remove some load from the CPU, and unsurprisingly, that didn't work. Making this change made me realize that these performance issues had nothing to do with my Chromebook or Xbox Cloud Gaming, but Fortnite itself, because I started this challenge on the very first day of the new Fortnite season. For anyone who doesn't play Fortnite, this may not sound like an issue. In fact, it probably sounds like we should be getting more FPS because of bug fixes that come with new updates, but at the start of every season, Fortnite seems to stutter for pretty much everyone. And to add salt to the wound, Xbox Cloud Gaming was just too delayed to possibly play competitively, so it's time to move on to Plan B. Originally, Plan B was to straight up install Windows and pay for any damages that I do to this laptop, but I accidentally found a slightly less risky solution in my Discord server, and it was to use my Chromebook as a remote control to stream from my PC. I know this guy was joking, but unironically, I think this could work. You might expect that the latency would still be pretty bad, but a few months back, I was actually doing remote gaming to play Mario Party with my friends, and it felt like it only had about 50 milliseconds of added input delay. And I know that's still too much delay for comp, but in the time between that and this video, I actually upgraded to gigabit Ethernet, so we might be able to drop that input latency way closer to zero than you probably imagined. Only thing is, I have no idea how the hell I'm supposed to set this up with a Chromebook, so I'm gonna figure this out real quick. The app I wanted to install for this is called Parsec because it's one of the only remote desktop applications designed specifically for gaming. But if you remember from earlier in this video, I said that the biggest problem with this challenge is that we're on Chrome OS, which makes it impossible to download this app. So instead, we have to resort to Google Chrome's remote desktop, which is blocked by the school, because why should you let your students have any freedom with their devices? With no apps available to us, we're forced to use the browser version of Parsec, and even after giving it so much praise, we ran into every possible issue. The delay is even worse than Xbox Cloud Gaming, and my mouse also kept disappearing. Strangely enough though, I had absolutely no problems when I was just sliding the touchpad around, so again, I felt like it had to be a problem with my mouse. But with the Solo Victory Cup quickly creeping up, I was running out of time and running out of ideas. My main concern now was to qualify, and in order to qualify for the Solo Victory Cup, you need to be at least gold rank. So I optimized my Chromebook as fast as I could. I immediately noticed that it wasn't even up to date, so I very quickly checked for updates and installed the new update. Very slowly. I also went into the performance settings of my browser, but the school institution just blocks everything. Like, enabling hardware acceleration isn't gonna kill your students, bro. But even after optimizing every possible setting in Chrome OS, I still couldn't watch videos in 1080p, and somehow the internet speed test is lagging out too. Like, it's one thing to have a slower connection, but it's also lagging. Thinking I was gonna have a fighting chance, I hopped into my first ranked game, and was quickly disappointed with what I was seeing, and I was still having the mouse issue no matter what I did. The only time my mouse actually responded was when I dragged it very slowly, and in a game where you need to make fast micro adjustments, this was just horrible. Since I didn't want to deal with this for the entire game, I dropped as slowly as I could to buy myself time to fix this mouse glitch. I assumed it had something to do with my CPU overloading because only my mouse was causing me problems, and my keyboard inputs were just fine. And I noticed that my processes were pretty clean, apart from a bunch of browser extensions running in the background. I thought this would be pretty easy to fix by just closing them, but I was wrong. It forces you to have Wii Video and Read and Write open at all times, so that they can spy on our activities, and that is literally eating all of our resources. So I kept playing on, barely opened a chest, and inevitably died. And remember, we need to hit gold, so we had a long way to go. At least that's what I thought, because Fortnite just blessed us with an instant qualification. So it's time for the final challenge, the Solo Victory Cup. And as I was about to play my first match of the tournament, I noticed something wrong with the tournament screen. They put a lock over the join button. You saw I just hit gold, so it had to be because I was playing on Xbox Cloud Gaming, right? Well, I assumed this had to be the case because the only thing that changed between this and the last time I competed in the Solo Victory Cup was the fact that I'm using Cloud Gaming. This wasn't a big deal, because the only thing I gotta do now is use Parsec with its horrendous delay, because the point of this challenge was to just compete in the Solo Victory Cup. But the tournament is locked on my PC as well, even though I'm elite, which is way above gold. We're already 15 minutes into the tournament with 0 matches played, so again, I quickly tried looking for any reason for the lock, but I genuinely have no idea. I'm gold and my account level is way above level 350, so I don't know what's the problem. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to try this challenge again with a Chromebook that isn't directly from the school. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking trying to optimize a Chromebook that can't even run YouTube properly, but at least I tried my best. But for now, it looks like I spent the whole week trying to achieve the impossible. But if you want to see me try and optimize a $50 PC until every game is playable, watch this video next.